After being in the gym for more than 4 years, gaining more than 50 pounds of muscle and losing more than 25 pounds of fat, here are the 5 biggest mistakes that I've made so far. So the reason I'm making this video is because after being in the gym for more than 4 years, I really wanted to evaluate the 5 biggest mistakes that I've made, and I'm assuming that if I've made these mistakes, that you're also making these mistakes right now, or you've made them in the past, and maybe you haven't corrected them yet. So I want to tell you guys exactly the 5 biggest mistakes that I've made, so you can learn from my mistakes and correct them if you're going through them right now. So let's get into it. I got a notepad right here just to make sure I didn't forget them. I wanted to really evaluate my journey to make sure I was doing this the right way. So at number 1, we got the dirty bulk. And what a dirty bulk is, I guess in a more intricate sense, is you're eating significantly more calories than you're burning per day. So you're going to gain muscle from it, but you're also going to gain excess fat that you're going to have to lose later on anyway. So a surplus in itself, eating in a surplus in itself is a bulk, but when you eat too high in a surplus and you don't pay attention to it consciously, you end up in a dirty bulk, which is going to end up screwing you in the long haul. And I want to talk about my experience with the dirty bulk, so if you're going through the same thing, you can avoid it. But my first semester at UMass Amherst, which was, I was 18, and this is my second year of college, I went into UMass at 205. Okay, this is late August. It was August 31st. I ended up leaving late December. I think it was like the second or third week of December. And I at one point I had hit 230. That's 25 pounds in 4 months. That is not normal. Okay, it's like 5-6 pounds a month, or even more than that, almost 7 pounds a month. And the reason that happened is because I wasn't tracking. My sole focus was to gain as much weight as possible on the scale, rather than doing it the correct way, making sure I was eating in a slight surplus, so I was like kind of like lean bulking, rather than just eating as much as possible. So what I was doing was I would get up in the morning, I would have 2 full plates of eggs, 2 full plates of fruit, 2 full bowls of cereal, 2 glasses of chocolate milk, and then I'd have some sort of other snack for my dorm. Then at lunch I would have 3 burgers with the bun with it, and like this massive bowl of rice. And then for dinner I would do the same thing. I was eating upwards of 6,000-7,000 calories a day. It was ridiculous. And you know, I can probably put a picture up here with it, and you've probably seen it in my other videos. I looked like shit. I had this huge gut. Even when I flexed, I tried to show my abs. Like, it was just this huge gut, and all you could see is like the top 2 abs, if that. And I know some of you, that'd be great to see your top 2 abs, but for me, I had like a 6-pack going into UMass. So when I saw that, I was like, fuck, like I got to get my shit together. And that's when I cut it back down from December to February. I was good to go, but that 25 pounds that I gained in those 4 months really showed me how bad dirty bulking can be if you don't use it the right way, or if you don't monitor it. So my number 1 piece of advice when you're bulking is make sure that you find out what your maintenance calories are. Figure out, based on your height, your age, your weight, your activity level, about how many calories you're burning per day. Okay, make sure you know exactly what you're putting in your body every single day. And then just be in a surplus of like 250, 350, 450 above that maintenance. And you're going to gain muscle, and you're not going to gain that much excess fat. Okay, you're going to be in a lean bulk. All right? Number 2 is the way I went about tracking. So this is a funny one, because I didn't start tracking until last year. And the reason for that is, first of all, I didn't know it was that important. And second of all, I was already seeing progress quickly. But seeing progress quickly doesn't mean that if you track, you can't see progress faster. Because if I tracked with the action I was taking, with the consistency I had, the discipline I had, I would have seen progress 10 times faster, and I would look way better than I do right now. So my biggest thing is that when you're starting, all you need is to track it for a couple days and then eat the same thing every single day. And you can either do it that way, or you can just track every single day and you can switch up your meals. But for me, I was eating the same thing every single day. I would have, from senior year to before I left the beginning of senior year to before I left for college, was oatmeal with a protein shake in the morning. Lunch, I'd have 2 peanut butter sandwiches. After school, I would have a protein shake. I would have some sort of red meat with some rice. I'd go to the gym, and then I'd come back and I had the same thing with some berries. I ate that every single day. And it was good because I saw a shit ton of progress, but I didn't even know how much I was eating, and I could have optimized it better because I spent all that time on all that eating, all that gym time, and I didn't take the time to track it for a couple days to then maybe yield me months worth of results if I had just tracked it off the bat. So tracking is super important, not because, first of all, you're conscious of what you're putting in your body, but second of all, once you know exactly what you eat every single day, you can modify it slightly to make sure it hits, whether it's your maintenance, your surplus, or your deficit, and you can just stick to that every single day, and you know consciously in your brain what you need to do to hit that number. And that's why it's so important. That's why it's been working for me, recently, is because I don't track my stuff every day because I don't need to, because I eat the same thing every day, and I know, how many calories is in 4 ounces of ground beef. I know how much protein is in 8 ounces of ground beef. I know that, and that's all I eat. I eat that, white rice, chicken, fruit, almond butter, rice cakes, all that stuff. And when I already know what's in all the food I'm eating, I don't really have to track it because I know what I'm putting in my body every single day. So tracking doesn't have to be this grueling task that you do every single day, as long as you're consistent with what you're eating and you're eating the right foods. Because there's only so many foods that you can eat and allow it to be convenient. So if you eat the same group of foods and you what's it called? You keep it down, like you only eat the select 5 or 6 group of foods, and you only track based on those, you're gonna start to understand what is in those foods, what the macros are, what the calories are, and you won't even have to track them again because you've gotten so consistent in the numbers just in your brain. So I don't even suggest that you need to track every single day as long as you're eating the same things. If you're not eating the same things, that's a different story. If you eat 4 different dinners, 4 different lunches, 4 different breakfasts a week, you should probably start tracking. And then maybe in years' time, you'll know every single food, every single macro, every single calorie. But for now, I would start tracking. But tracking is super important, especially on how big I am with numeric goals. You need a numeric goal in order to have something to shoot for, and then you need the calories to reverse engineer it and actually hit that goal. So that's number 2. Number 3 is not utilizing pre and post workout windows. This is something you see in my stories all the time. So again, my whole first 3 years, I was very consistent and very good at taking action, but I did not optimize the most important aspects of the gym. And if I did, the action that I took and the consistency that I had, I would look 10 times better, like I said, with how I was with tracking. If I tracked and I utilized these pre and post workout windows for eating and for my lifts, I would be 10 times stronger. I would look a lot better, and these are just mistakes that I don't want you guys to make. So, pre-workout window. If you guys watch my stories, you know that eating, carbs, simple and complex carbs. Simple carbs because they're quick digesting. They give you a quick burst of energy. Complex carbs because they're longer digesting. They're going to give you more focus and a better pump throughout the duration of your workout. And they take a little bit longer to digest. The thing with the reason you need to have both is because you want to have energy throughout the whole workout, and you want to eat them an hour to an hour and a half before your lift. And the reason for this is, like I said, digestion. So if you let those digest and you go into your lift with this energy from that food, you're going to have an insane lift. You're going to be a lot stronger, and you can do this even if you're cutting. Even if you're low on carbs, we don't need carbs to survive. So if you're just keeping your carbs low throughout the duration of the day, and you're maximizing your carbs an hour and a half before your lift, you're going to have an insane lift. You can restore with carbs and protein after your lift. And if you just execute in that 3-hour window, you're going to see insane results. And this is what I do with all my clients, and that's why they see results. Even with my guys that are cutting, like you look at someone like Nikki, which you guys probably see in my stories. He utilizes, he wasn't eating a whole lot of carbs. We upped his carbs a little bit. Even though he's cutting, we upped his carbs because I wanted him to have more energy in the lifts. He would burn he would burn those calories off again anyway, and he would have better lifts. He was getting stronger. And by us doing that, the scale fucking plummeted. Because you need energy when you're lifting, or else you're not going to have good lifts, and you're not going to burn those calories off. You're not going to increase your metabolism. So utilizing your pre-workout window for carbs, and then your post-workout window for high protein. This should be your highest protein meal. You'll see this in my stories as well. Your highest protein meal, again, it's going to vary based on what your body weight is and what your goals are, but your highest protein meal should come after the gym. You want to get it in that anabolic window, which people say is about a half hour. As long as you eat it like an hour to an hour 15 right after you lift, you'll be good to go. but you need to refuel the muscles that you just destroyed from protein. Okay? That you need to recover and refuel the muscles that you just destroyed. So you use the pre-workout window to get the energy to destroy your muscles, okay, from the carbs, and then use the post-workout meal with the high protein to refuel those and start the recovery process. That way, the following days, you feel better, you're going to recover better, and you can go destroy yourself in your next lift. All right, so that's number 3. That's something that I didn't do well at all, and again, not something I started really doing until this past year, and if I did it, I would have seen results much faster. Number 4 is my lack of attention to energy and sleep. So this is a big one, and it goes unnoticed because it's not tangible, but the number one thing that I've seen in myself and my clients is that, first of all, I wasn't monitoring my energy and my sleep at all, and my clients weren't conscious of it either. My first 2.5 years of the gym, like right before my brother passed, my energy was horrible whenever I wasn't at the gym, and sometimes as a result of that, I was bad at the gym if I didn't have caffeine or didn't have food in me, and my sleep was just atrocious. I was sleeping, 9-10 hours a day on some days, even when I was a senior, because I would sleep and I wouldn't go to school. I would sleep 9-10 hours a day, and I would wake up still tired, and I was so fucking confused. And my clients would see this too. They're like, yeah, but like sometimes I just feel like shit in the morning, because I always ask about energy, I always ask about sleep every single week. And the reason for, like, your energy comes from food. It comes from your diet. So once I started adjusting my diet, and once we started adjusting their diet, and we started making them conscious of, after they ate, how did they feel? After you eat this, how did you feel? After you eat this, how did you feel? When you ate this before bed, how did you feel when you woke up? When you ate this before bed, how was your sleep? When you ate this when you woke up, how was the rest of your day? Constantly monitoring that, because everyone has different, digestive systems, everyone has different bodies, that everyone has different optimal diets. And that's why I'm not a big fan of like universal workout plans, universal diets, because based on your schedule, your habits, oh shit, it's fucking Fort Lauderdale for you. Based on your schedule, based on your, your habits in the past, based on what your workout routine looks like, your energy and sleep is going to be different. So we need to adjust it differently. So for me, for my energy, the biggest thing I did was I wouldn't eat right before bed, and I would eat right when I woke up, just not that high in carbs. After I realized that when I ate high carbs in the morning, I would feel groggy the rest of the day. So that's what I started doing, and then I would just have a really big meal for dinner, but not too close to when I went to bed. And I started doing the same type of thing for my clients. It's like, if you eat low-ish carbs in the morning, even if you're bulking, and you have higher carbs, you get your higher carb meals in later in the day, and if you lift later in the day, and you stay consistent with that, you're gonna be a monster. If you can do this, low carb in the morning, high carb lunch, third meal, dinner, lift somewhere in between that lunch, third meal, dinner, and keep that consistently, you're going to be a monster. But even if you can't do this, say you lift fasted, fine. You go lift fasted. I would have a higher carb meal than if you weren't lifting fasted, high protein meal, and again, you just eat high protein, high carb lunch, third meal, dinner, and you'll be good to go. You'll still have great energy. The other thing about energy too is the phone. You need to stay off your phone before you go to bed and before you wake up. Not before you wake up. Before you go to bed and right after you wake up. You need to stay off the phone right before you go to bed, because you need to be with your own thoughts for like 15-20 minutes. And I talk about the 20-20 rule, which is something I kind of made up. But you need 20 minutes each night with just your thoughts before you go to bed. 20 minutes each morning with just your thoughts before you check your phone. And if you allow your phone to be with you every single minute of every single day, right when you wake up, right before you go to bed, you're letting your phone and your time control you. And you only have so much energy in a day that you need to be very conscious of where that is going. So say you have 2 cups. This is my cup full of energy, this cup is empty. You being on your phone all day, especially right when you wake up and right before you go to bed, you're starting to pour your energy whenever you look at the phone, because you're not looking at anything important. You're consuming information that doesn't matter. So by you constantly being on your phone, you're just slowly pouring your energy into this cup. And by the end of the day, you have nothing in you, and it all came from useless information from the phone. So I want you to think of energy that way. Because once you start thinking of energy that way, you consciously understand, oh, I only have so much energy in the day. I need to go put it on different things and not use it to consume useless information from my phone. Okay, that's another big thing. And then sleep, it's going to help your sleep as well. But that's really it for lack of attention to energy and sleep. All right, last but not least, number 5, the lack of a plan and my unwillingness to ask for help. This is a big one. So my first 2 years, I was a bitch, and I was going to the gym, like you look at my first 9 months, I didn't really make any progress, but the next year and 3 months after that, a ton of progress. But I was still afraid to ask for help, and everything I did was based on the knowledge I consumed. And since I was a senior and, I had some free time, I had the time to go and research all this, go and, find the splits, find the workouts, learn all about it, and make progress still. But when you're first starting, or when you're not the most experienced in the gym. I'm not the most experienced person in the gym. There's other people in your gym that have years of experience. Utilize that. I have years of experience. Utilize that. Ask me questions. But you are being ignorant, and your ego is outweighing how bad you want your results if you're not willing to ask other people for help to get to your goals. And this is something that I had a big problem with too, is I was so afraid to ask anyone else because I didn't want to look like an idiot. But once I got over that and I started taking advice from people that were bigger than me, that's when everything changed. Because I allowed myself to make mistakes. I said it was okay to make mistakes. And once I realized it was okay to make mistakes and I wasn't going to die afterwards, it got a lot better. I started to get consistent with the knowledge they provided me. I started to get consistent with the knowledge that other great trainers were providing me. And I started to impact it all into everything that I already knew. And that's when my results started skyrocketing. Like my freshman year of college, and honestly my sophomore year of college, even though I dirty bulked, I had crazy months at a time where I was just getting insane progress because I applied it every single day and I didn't stop learning. So your unwillingness to ask for help is killing you. Put your ego aside. Be willing to ask people that are already better than you and people that are already more experienced than you. Fail. Learn from your failures. Take action on them and continue that cycle, because you're going to fail. You're going to learn. You're going to take action. You're going to fail. You're going to learn. You're going to take action. I talk about the cycle all the time. And once you learn that, and once you get through that cycle quicker and quicker as you go, you're going to see crazy results. But these are the 5 biggest mistakes that I made in the gym. If I could go back, start over, I would prioritize these 5. You guys know what you have to do. You know what you have to, you have to stay consistent. You know you have to be eating right. You know you have to be going to the gym consistently. Follow these 5 things. Follow the mistakes that I've made and learn from them. Ask other people, and you're going to get to the body that you want. But you need to fully indulge yourself in the process. Okay? That's one thing that I actually did well, is I fully indulged myself. I allowed myself to just fail over and over and over again, and it yielded me crazy results. But with all that being said, I got my one-on-one book a call link in the description below. Go book a call with me. Let's see if you're the right fit. We'll get you right. We'll get you in the new dashboard, like all my clients are in right now. We'll be good to go. But hope you guys enjoyed the style of video. I'm going to be giving you a lot more information, a lot more value, and I'm pumped for it. Let's go.